There's no question that the TV show Mad Men became such a success thanks to the hard work of the terrific ensemble cast. However, it's also inarguable that Don Draper, played by Jon Hamm, is the linchpin of the series. The protagonist, antihero, and nuanced character whom we follow from the beginning of Mad Men keeps viewers invested in the story, and was a huge selling point for the show. This makes it all the more interesting to contemplate what the series would have been like if someone other than Hamm had stepped into the role. The perfect casting is one of the reasons a Mad Men revival would be a mistake. Capturing the same chemistry and specific dynamics would be nearly impossible today. Though it's almost sacrilegious to contemplate what Mad Men might have looked like without these iconic performers, it's also intriguing. Hamm was the perfect choice, but he was far from the only person who could have stepped up and delivered the layered performance required for Don Draper. This potential version of Mad Men would have been different, but not necessarily worse, as each actor brings something special to their roles. Thomas Jane was the first choice for the role of Don Draper in Mad Men. Before they found Jon Hamm, Thomas Jane was primed to be Don Draper. Thomas Jane is one of the actors who was almost cast as Don Draper before they settled on Jon Hamm to portray the role in Mad Men. While it's hard to imagine someone else stepping into the iconic ad man's shoes, as Hamm is so tied to the character, Jane could have easily been the actor who took Mad Men to the next level. At the time, Hamm was an unknown actor with little name recognition, making it a risk to cast him in such a high-profile role, especially as the leading man and anchor of the story. Jane is known for being the original Punisher actor before Jon Bernthal, as well as for other action-adventure movies and horror films like 1922 and The Mist. Since he was coming off the high of starring in the 2004 Punisher and boasting more appeal and security for the series than Hamm, these are likely large parts of what made him such an attractive option for Don. Selling a show like Mad Men is never easy, and having big names in the cast is a vital part of every pitching process for movies and TV series alike. How Thomas Jane's Don Draper would have been different from Jon Hamm's. He would have brought a different type of charm to Draper. One of the most defining aspects of Don Draper is his charm and uncanny ability to get people to do what he wants. Hamm telegraphs both this ability and Draper's knowledge of the power he possesses with ease. Though he's handsome and imposing, it's not his physicality, but his intelligence that he uses to intimidate others. Conversely, Jane would have slightly flipped the script on this portrayal. Due to his connection to the action and thriller genres, Jane would have brought a more tactile energy to Draper, making him more traditionally masculine, while Hamm's Draper is still masculine and adheres to the stereotypes and social construction of the era. He does so in different ways than some of the other men in the show. Jane still would have captured the intelligence and magnetic personality of Draper, but he might have put a more rugged and naturalistic emphasis on the character. In the show, Draper pushes himself to be polished and always in control, distancing himself from his past. These contradictions inherent to Draper's character come out of Hamm so naturally, it would be interesting to see if Jane could do the same. I could see Thomas Jane as Don Draper, but Jon Hamm was born for the role. Jane would have worked, but no one can top Jon Hamm. Of all Jon Hamm's best movies and TV shows, Mad Men will likely go down in history as the project is best remembered for. Though Hamm has distinguished himself from the role in the years since Mad Men stopped airing, a part of him will always be associated with Don Draper, and it's difficult to imagine anyone else embodying the role as perfectly. I can see Mad Men still achieving success, and Jane garnering acclaim for his work as Don Draper, but the longevity of the project might not have been the same. It's impossible to know how exactly the show and the character would have been altered without Jon Hamm, so I'm just happy that he was cast, against the odds. The fact that it was Hamm's breakout role and that he was received with such respect and admiration for it cements the fact that no one actor could be Don Draper the way he is. Mad Men will continue to stand the test of time for years to come, remaining a hallmark of prestige television, and Hamm's contribution to this can't be ignored.